All right, welcome back to the second video of this series, going through small engine equipment. We're still on the same trimmer, the FS94R. First video, we just talked through the basics of small engines, right? Jordan broke it down for us, told us what we were actually looking at, what the importance of it was, all those things. In this video, I'm going to take it away. Again, Jordan is the pro, I'm the rookie. I'm sitting here and learning, I'm the apprentice. But we're going to take this thing and we're going to break it down almost all the way to nothing with literally just one or two tools. So Jordan, take it away, that's what we're going to be doing. Breaking this down, and just some common things. Again, these are breakages that happen. You're using this thing out in the field every day. This isn't necessarily mechanical stuff. Some of it is, some of it isn't, but it's just going to say like stuff breaks, right? Your head breaks, something comes off. We're going to be able to look and show you how to fix some of this stuff without having to take it and drop it off for 3 or 4 weeks at a dealer, because a lot of stuff can be done with those two tools right there. Jordan, take it away.
So one thing that I see a lot with commercial guys, a lot of y'all run open trailers, and you're not paying attention, you go to snatch it off, the gear head will catch and hang on something. Even though it's still on the machine, you go to crank it up, your head doesn't spin, it's making a terrible noise. So what's happening is the gear head right here has caught and has slid loose. One way you can tell with most commercial stuff, because these shafts are dirty, if you see a shiny spot like that when it comes off the trailer, it's because the gear head is separated from the drive shaft. What I mean by that, this drive shaft has a metal square bit on it right here. So that actually goes into a female section on the gear head, which is probably hard to see. That actually causes the gear head to turn. So if that is not fully intact, it will round this off. You will have to replace this entire drive shaft, or it can damage the gear head. And the only real answer for that is to replace the gear head,
which is not cheap.
Yeah, about 130 bucks.
Yeah.
So this drive shaft, will show you how simple this is. You can remove this whole thing. FS94 has a flexible drive shaft. Not all of them are like this. Your 91s are solid. So this is pretty common. The other end that goes into the engine, it's the same principle. Square chuck fits into a female square on the clutch drum, and we'll get to that. So within one screw, you've removed the inner drive shaft, which makes your weed eater do everything that it does.
That's what makes it run.
Yeah.
What makes it turn, I should say.
So, yeah, without that piece operating correctly,
you're dead in the water.
So, one thing too, talking about the clutch side, I'm going to show you how to remove this engine with a couple of screws. So, there's always one right here at the motor housing. You do not have to remove these completely. You're just going to loosen them. All of these are the same size. That's why STIHL provides you these tools to keep them the size. They want you to fix these. They want you to maintain them. So with a couple of turns of each screw here, as you can see now, the handle's loose, the engine's loose too. Didn't back it off now. Don't recommend removing these all the way. Yeah. So there's your complete engine. Now you have nothing but a drive tube. So one thing I want to show, and this is debatable, a lot of guys will argue about it, when to replace these and to keep the old ones or not. To me, sex sells on the truck. If you have all the same brands and all the same pieces, to me it's more sexually appealing. The customer's going to like it better. So over time you're going to have a bunch of these laying around. Don't throw them away, keep them. You saw within 5 screws, I now have an engine that can be put on something else, a gear head that can be put on something else, all because you just had a bent drive shaft.
Now, does this shaft go, is it compatible with like a 91?
So, no. I mean, somebody's going to argue with me in the comments. I don't want you crossbreeding. I want you staying with it. That's why I recommend buy all the same. Once you find out you like 94s, keep the 94s.
Which is what we do.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing to do. And so that way, if something does break, like the recoil, you can have one spare laying in the truck. You can have a whole engine laying in the truck that you can swap
to pull parts on, yeah.
Entire engine. And within a couple of screws, you can have a new trimmer. All these parts can be reused, rebuilt, replaced. It's not that deep. I want you to calm down and take a breath and go outside to your junk pile. I know all of you have one. You threw it away because it bent the drive shaft.
So guys,
what? Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah.
Jordan is letting out years of emotion in this video.
Years of emotion
of seeing guys come in here and bring stuff that didn't need to be in here. Just stuff that's, I'm the worst. Like, I'm the worst at bringing crap in. Dirty air filters, stuff that just using and abusing equipment. He's taking us out on you guys, so you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm taking it out. Look, I'm not trying to be you guys. I'm just being real with you. You threw something away, you laid it out to the side because the drive shaft broke. You have good pieces right here. You know, you can reuse this. Save yourself some money and time with just a couple of screws with a provided tool that I know all of y'all have or get mad.
I have 40 of those.
Yeah, so I mean, you just seen what I did. I took all this apart, and I can actually go in detail, and we probably will in this video.
Yeah.
So, if you bent the shaft, you have an old one at the house, 5 screws, you can replace it.
Which I've done that before too.
Yeah. So, control handles.
Y'all like Jordan's graveyard down here?
Hey, cool. Let's not show that.
What a graveyard.
Yeah.
That blower start right up though, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that right now. So, control handles. All right, I am going to rant about this. Because I got on.
Oh, wait till we get on a blower.
I got to Jeremiah about it before. You brake handles, I get it. Quit putting duct tape on them, people, please.
Like this right here. This is a perfect example, folks,
Yeah.
which is coming.
These plastic handles are not expensive. They are not going to break the bank. They are super easy to change. When you bring it to me, I'm going to replace it.
You're not putting your duct tape back on it?
I'm not putting the duct tape back on. So now I want to kind of show the clutch. I want to show you how easy it is to get to this. People always get nervous when they say, oh, you know, my clutch is bad. It's the same tool, the same principles as a starter recoil. There's 3 screws here on the front of this engine. And we can actually get a view of this entire engine just by removing those.
Same tool. One tool this entire time.
One tool this entire time.
But this is the basics, right? Like, this is good stuff because, well, I guess we're, you know, video 1 was the basics. We're a step above the basics a little bit.
Above now. I mean, this is something that you brought home. It didn't work that day. You're going to try to fix yourself before you bring it.
You're going to tinker with it.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, this is growing mechanical skill too. Like, this is some, if you're running a landscape company, guys, you're going to grow it. Like, you're going to have 30, 40, 50, 60 of these, right? And not everybody can afford a full-time mechanic. Yeah. So, why would you not learn some of this?
Yeah. And, you know, we're about to get to this point to where I'm going to recommend you bring it to me. But at least you can take this part off and see an obvious failure. And you would be surprised if you take it to your local shop and go, hey, I did this. I know for a fact this is broken. How quick they'll do it because they know what the failure is. You know what I mean? It's nothing they got to troubleshoot. This makes life a lot easier for everybody. So a couple of screws on 94. Remove the engine shroud. This is your clutch drum, and you're down to an entire engine here.
To the bare bones.
Yeah. So one thing that happens a lot is clutch drums. Inside here, this is your clutch drum. This is your clutch. These shoes and this spring will open up when the engine turns over, which grabs this, turns this, which turns your drive shaft. So this sends power from the engine to this clutch drum out to your trimmer head. These have bearings inside of them. They will fail over time. It's just part of maintenance. There's a wearable item. You can replace these. It's easier to buy them assembled, but it's 3 screws, take it on and put it on. This is the clutch. You do need actual sockets to remove this clutch. This is something that's difficult and you can damage it. I do recommend you bringing that to your dealer at that point. But one thing you can look for that's real common, this spring holds these 2 shoes together. The spring will break, and then your clutch is either going to stay engaged or not engaged at all. And all of that can be replaced. This is all very cheap. It's easy to do if it's something you want to do yourself.
It is possible.
It is possible.
And you don't need special tools to do it.
Yeah, you don't
need different tools. You don't need special tools.
Where people can go into damaging this, if you over tighten these, or if you try to wrench on them just right, you can break these bolts off in your engine. It's a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talk about this real quick, because I've had this go bad before. What is that?
So the proper term is an ignition module. Everybody calls it a coil. So this provides spark. This is a giant magnet behind your clutch. And if you look, there's gaps. So these are fans to help keep the engine cool. But these magnets here, when they come in contact with this coil, creates an electrical current, sends that current to the spark plug, which makes spark ignite. So over time, these will wear too, and it's kind of hard to see, but there's a tiny, tiny gap between the coil and the flywheel here.
Yep.
That gapping has to be correct. Over time, they get bigger, the spark gets weaker, you lose fire.
So let's go back to that first video. We're not getting spark in a new spark plug. We put a new spark plug in. We use the tester. We're not getting spark.
Right.
Do we go to this next?
Yes.
When you know you don't have spark.
Yeah, so this is something that you can do yourself. I would recommend you take it to a dealer. But
I've personally done something like this before.
So the reason this is simple, it's just 2 screws that takes it off. But where it comes into importance is the gap.
Yeah.
You can actually run this too tight. It will make contact. It will damage the coil, damage the flywheel, or you can have the gap too far away and it's not going to work at all. And this wire right here, this is your ground wire. This is what tells the coil to stop producing an electrical current. If it's damaged, you're not going to be able to turn your trimmer off. There's a bunch of things that can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing.
And that ground wire, I think that's happened to me on blowers before.
Yeah. So on blowers, it can be common because you're moving your throttle cable around or you snatch it on the mower. I see that a lot.
Yeah.
When you snatch this loose, it will break this ground and you can't turn the blower or the trimmer off. So in that situation, if you need to turn it off, you don't have to take it all apart. Just choke it.
Yeah.
It'll eventually flood out and it'll kill itself. Then you come to me and go, hey, I'm pretty sure my coil and my ground wire is damaged, and we can fix that for you.
Very good. Very good stuff. So we're talking about turning it off, right? What's happening in this kill switch to get us from here, you pressing this button, to turning it off? What is the process?
So it's just a ground, and the best way I can describe it in simpler terms, it's an open current. If you ground it, you're touching 2 currents together to stop the coil from firing. Inside here, I can take it apart to show you, but basically when it's not closed, there's 2 prongs that are open. That's telling this to send current. When you hit this button, it touches those 2 prongs together, and that tells the coil to stop firing. Yeah. I know that sounds really dumb, but I promise you it makes sense in the mechanic world.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Yeah. Well, where do you want to go from here as far as like as this thing runs? I know. Do we want to talk about that thing right there, or do we want to hide that? I mean,
you're the thing that's not there.
The thing that's not there.
I don't see it as much in the commercial world because all y'all running wide open anyways. And that's good. That's what I want you to do. This engine is designed to run wide open all the time, no limits. But right here it's called a spark arrestor. What's supposed to be in here, it's called the spark arrestor. So what that is...
Most of you have never seen that.
Yeah. And I don't have one close by to show you. But anyways, It does exactly what it says. So it keeps sparks from coming out of the engine, catching something on fire, and it's dangerous. A lot of people will... consider it like a catalytic converter.
Okay, yeah.
Catalytic converter. The reason they say that is because this is a filter system and it can clog. The reason it clogs is because of scavenge loss. So that's unburnt fuel that gets trapped in the muffler and connects onto that screen, and it creates a carbon deposit. So once it gets so clogged, it can't breathe. This goes back to the first video. You have fuel, you have air, you have spark, but it's still not running. The reason is you're missing the 4th parts of the exhaust. If none of that has anywhere to escape, all of these first parts are going to fail.
Yeah.
So
the common reason we take those off.
Yeah. So
it's not the right thing to do.
Not supposed to.
Yeah, it's not supposed to come off.
Yeah.
But
so if you have that problem, one of the tall tale signs is you will see a lot of oily, wet buildup here. You will remove this screw, and there's a screen that you can imagine is there because somebody took theirs out.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah, I know, it's a terrible person. You remove that out, it'll be completely black. You can't just clean it, you can't wipe it off. It's carbon, it has to be burnt off. You can buy replacements, that's the easiest thing to do. If you take it to a dealer, they can possibly clean it for you. It's something you can do yourself.
Do it safely.
It's fire.
Yeah.
Be safe. Don't be around open, flammable elements.
Yeah, take that bottle, that thing of gas and go somewhere else with it.
So, Uncle Joe Bob told you to take that out and leave it out because that's not making it run right. No, that's not true. Yes, it's frustrating, but it's needed. It's there for a reason.
I mean, you can talk like, we're talking mechanics. We're not talking about selling STIHL equipment or any of that in these videos. We're talking like, how is this thing running? Yeah. What is the principles? But that also, taking that out and running it out, it voids your warranty.
Yes, 100% voids your warranty.
So you come in here with an issue.
Yeah.
And what is, I mean, again, I don't want to get into STIHL stuff too much, but what is a warranty on a weed eater? On a brand new one?
It's 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
You can extend it if you're a homeowner with a couple options there. But guys, STIHL's really great at warranties. STIHL's a great company, man. If I can call them and go, hey, this is a defect, I don't think it's anything the customer did wrong, they're gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
just don't hassle them.
Yeah.
Do what they ask. You know, keep the spark arrestor in. We're always going to do our best to help our commercial guys.
Yeah.
I promise we want y'all to make money.
That's, I mean, that's across the board. Most small engine repair shops across the nation.
Yeah.
That, guys, and you know, Jordan was talking about this earlier. Whether you like it or not, or whether he likes it or not, we're the people that keep them in business. Like, this service department keeps them up and going. And so they sell equipment and things like that, but like these services, what keeps his guys, puts food on his table, right? And so what I'm wanting to do is like help you build a relationship with them to where when you bring stuff in, they're not like, oh, what's he bringing me now? It's like, you know, when they bring me, when we bring them something, it's like, hey, there's your reason. They're here. Like, let's actually fix it.
Look, dude, we're people too. You don't have to lie to me because this machine's going to tell me what you're doing.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Be straight up with me. Hey, I took the spark arrestor out. Now it's running funny. We're going to help you. We're going to keep you in business. Like the spark arrestor, I see it all the time. No guards.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's a big one.
I know. Commenters, be nice. I know. Look, I get it. So I'm going to dabble in that a little bit. So imagine this guard that's supposed to be here. The reason they limit this engine is designed to run properly with a limited amount of string. So if you take this guard off and you run out string this long, it's going to pull the engine down. You're putting extra wear on your clutch. You're putting the engine under load. I know it works. I know you can do it, but that doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah.
If you want this thing to last as long as it possibly can, keep the guard on.
That's all really good stuff. Before we wrap up, like, I guess what on here, so, you know, we talked earlier, I think it was on this video, the last one, I don't remember now, but these pawls right here, are those replaceable?
Yeah, they are replaceable. So
Okay.
a lot of times these will wear out first, way before your recoil does. These are easy, they just snap off, and you can replace them. You can buy it at any of your local steel dealers.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward, but the only thing you want to make sure is they're not broke, of course, and you want them to actuate on their own. So you want it to spring back like that. So what that's designed to do, it will grab that recoil and turn the engine. Yep. And that noise you hear when you let go of the string is actually these closing, going around that cog gear on the recoil.
That's some crazy stuff right there. Yeah. That's over my head. Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, that is, guys, that's like literally the head down there, the gearbox, all the way up to the motor. We took it apart, disassembled it. Well, Jordan did, not me. He's the pro. But that is, that's the whole walkthrough. And so, again, this was number 2 in the series of walking through this equipment and things. And so, as we continue, like, ask questions, drop in the comments. What do you want to see? Like, because we can get into specifics. Like, trust me, I have plenty of equipment we're going to get into. We're going to break it down. This is just the beginning. We're laying the foundation, setting the basics up of like how this stuff runs. We're going to transition into some blowers, let you see some of that as well. But I know we're going to talk about the choke, the primer bulb, some of these things that are simple that I know that you can do on your own as long as you have a little bit of competence to yourself. So, and again, same parts, right? Yeah. Same tools. So you can come get them at your dealer, save him some time. I thank you for watching. Jordan, you got anything that we missed?
Not really, man. Like, people watch this video that's going to try to do something after watching this, breathe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know, kids, keep it simple, stupid. Start with the basics. It's not always the coil. It's not always the carburetor. It could be something very simple if you just take the time to look.
I love it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, give us a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, come back and watch more. We're going to keep the series going. We're going to change it up, dive into some other things. But, again, foundation blocks laid here in the last video. And today, we're going to keep moving. Let us know what you want to see in the comments below. Share with your friends. Come back and watch us here on the next video. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you here on the next one.